cross live now to the Élysée Palace, where our reporter Catherine Norris Trent is standing by. Catherine, we heard then the classic talking points from Emmanuel Macron as he opened that press conference, insisting on France being a great ally of Ukraine. And indeed, this is Volodymyr Zelensky's 10th visit to Paris since the start of the full-scale Russian invasion.
Yeah, we heard the warm words that we've been used to hearing from Emmanuel Macron for Volodymyr Zelensky, but acknowledging that this had been a particularly tough 2 weeks for the Ukrainian president. Beleaguered at home on the political scene, as we've been hearing, on the battlefield as well, where the Russians have been making advances, but also with these negotiations. When the US administration first unveiled the 28-point plan, which went very much along Russian talking points, that was a huge blow for the Ukrainians, a huge blow for the Europeans too. And so I think Emmanuel Macron was recognizing that, whilst reaffirming his support for Ukraine. But the impression that we got speaking to people on the edges of that press conference, and the diplomats, the people working in the Élysée Palace, is that there was a lot of phone calls going on. There was kind of a scrambling behind the scenes to call as many people as they could, to use whatever remaining time is left. No one really knows how much, I think, here, to call as many countries, as many people as possible, and try and get their views across at this crucial time, hoping that will get through to the Americans, hoping the Americans will put pressure on the Russians. And so this is about, well, doing everything diplomatically possible at this stage to try and have their say, both the Ukrainians and the Europeans.
That's right, Catherine, because for Macron, at least, it was important. It seemed that he insists on the fact that there can be no negotiations around, in particular, security guarantees without the presence of the Europeans.
Yeah, Emmanuel Macron said there could be no questions about European security guarantees or European sanctions without the Europeans signing off on them. Macron also said there could be no questions of any deal containing territorial concessions without the Ukrainians signing off on them. So they're saying, look, this is not a finished peace deal. This is a plan. And they're hoping to try and make some further impression on that plan. Now, we didn't get any details of any changes that may have been made to that following talks in Miami and now here in Paris. But Volodymyr Zelensky said the plan is improving. So we don't know quite what that means and whether it'll be stayed improved, in his words, when these talks now go to Russia, where Steve Witkoff will be speaking to Vladimir Putin. What kind of changes, if any, that will make? The Ukrainians are hoping that they can keep pushing to get momentum on their side, but whether that can last is a huge question.
All right, Catherine Norris Trent, thank you very much for your reporting there from the Élysée Palace.